All right, so we are ready to dive into these Grammy nominations for 2025. We've got some great sources this year. A couple articles from the LA Times, another from Yahoo Entertainment News, and of course the official nominations video. And you're in the right place if you want to know, like, what are some of the biggest surprises or, the snubs? And of course, we'll look at some of the key categories, some of the nominees, just to get everyone excited. What do you think? You ready to
Yeah.
jump in?
Yeah, let's get into it. Definitely looks like it's going to be a year full of surprises.
Yeah, I think so too. One thing that is just impossible to ignore right off the bat is just how many female pop stars are dominating these nominations. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it really makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've got, our Taylor Swift, our Beyonce, Billie Eilish.
Hmm.
But to see Chappell Rowe and Sabrina Carpenter in the big four categories, Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best New Artist, that is huge,
Hmm.
especially for first-time nominees.
Yeah, and for anyone listening who might not be super familiar with how the Grammys work, those big four categories, those are like the crown jewels.
Yeah, exactly.
And for both of them to just sweep all four, like, has that ever happened before?
It's super rare. It just shows how big of an impact they've had on the music scene this year.
Absolutely. And speaking of impact, can we talk about Beyonce for a second? 11 nominations.
She's making history. That's more than just, a takeover. That's officially the most nominated artist in Grammy history. She surpassed Quincy Jones, Alison Krauss.
Mm-hmm.
I think this just goes to show that Beyonce is always at the forefront, reinventing herself, reinventing her sound.
Absolutely. She's a force of nature. All right, now for something completely different. Andre 3000 is nominated for Album of the Year for his jazz flute album, New Blue Sun. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it's definitely not his usual hip-hop. But this album is amazing. It's like he dove headfirst into bebop and free jazz and then sprinkled in some electronic textures and spoken word samples. Definitely not your average jazz flute album.
Right. And his instrumental composition nomination. The song is called Get This. I swear, I really wanted to make a rap album, but this is literally the way the wind blew me this time. What do you think? Is that a little nod to his hip-hop
It's
past?
maybe a little wink to his fans. But make no mistake, this album is true artistry. And I think it shows that the Grammys are really rewarding these veteran artists for taking risks and experimenting, kind of like John Batiste last year.
Yeah, I see that. So we've got pop queens, we've got jazz flute. What else is going on?
Well, one thing that really surprised me was that Jack Antonoff didn't get nominated for Producer of the Year.
Hmm.
And he worked on some huge albums this year. Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter.
Wow, yeah. 3 wins in a row and now nothing. What happened there?
It's a tough one to figure out. Maybe they felt like it was time to let some new talent shine. Or maybe Antonoff's sound has just become so common in pop music that it's almost expected. Hard to say.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side, we've got the Beatles back in the mix thanks to AI. Their AI-assisted track, Now and Then, got a nomination. Can you imagine if they won their 8th Grammy 60 years after their first one?
It's incredible how much staying power they have.
Yeah.
And this song is just, so nostalgic. It really makes you yearn for the good old days.
Yeah.
But it also makes you think about what music is going to sound like in the future. How is technology going to shape it?
Yeah, it's wild. And speaking of unexpected comebacks, Khruangbin got nominated for Best New Artist. I thought they'd been around for ages.
Oh, yeah. They've definitely got a big following,
Okay.
especially in the psychedelic funk scene. But this nomination really shows that the Grammys are recognizing artists who are just now breaking into the mainstream, even if they've been around for a while.
I love that. Although, gotta say, I was a little disappointed in the rock categories this year. The Rolling Stones came back with Hackney Diamonds, and they only got 1 nomination. Just rock album.
I know a lot of people thought they would get more nominations than that, considering all the hype around the album. And what about Dolly Parton and her rock anthem, Rockstar or Hosier? His album Unreal on Earth was amazing, and no MKG.
Yeah, it feels like they missed a chance to really celebrate how much great rock music is out there.
Definitely.
But hey, let's talk about Charlie XCX. 7 nominations for Brat. That's huge.
That is a career high for her. Brat was critically acclaimed.
And she's nominated across so many different categories. Pop, dance, music videos, album packaging.
Just like Beyonce and Daft Punk back in the day.
Exactly.
She's a true multi-hyphenate.
Yeah.
And I think the Grammys are really recognizing her for pushing the limits of pop music, challenging how things are done, and making music that is both experimental and personal.
Yeah, and I think one snub that's going to get people talking is Tommy Richmond. He had some massive hits this year, but 0 nominations.
It is strange. I mean, his style is so hard to pin down. He blends rap, R&B, and pop. Maybe that's why he got overlooked, which would be a real bummer.
And one last nomination that really made me smile. Former President Jimmy Carter got nominated for Best Spoken Word Album.
Last Sundays in Plains, a centennial celebration. And this is actually his fourth nomination in that category. He's 100 years old and still going strong, still telling his stories.
It's pretty inspiring. Okay, before we get too deep into each category, let's do a lightning round of some other interesting nominations from across some of the genres.
Sounds good. Well, in country, we have Beyoncé again, this time with 16 Carriages. And remember, she's nominated for Album of the Year for a country album. And we also have Shaboozey's A Bar song, Tipsy, which is definitely going to get people talking.
I'll say. And rap is just stacked this year. Cardi B, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem, Future, Doechii, Glorilla.
So many good ones.
And for alternative, we've got some legends, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Kim Gordon, and some newer artists too. Clairo, Brittany Howard, St. Vincent.
Yeah, it's a really diverse
We
group.
have some for everyone.
This is definitely going to be an exciting Grammy ceremony. That's for sure. So as we move into part 2 of our Grammy deep dive, here's a question for everyone listening. With all these amazing women dominating the pop categories, is this a sign that the Grammys are changing? Like, are they starting to value different kinds of music?
Yeah.
Or is this just a fluke? What do you think?
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, are the Grammys actually starting to change what they think is, good music? Or is pop just having a lucky year?
I think it might be a little bit of both, even within pop itself. Look at the best dance pop recording category. You've got Madison Beer, Charlie XCX, Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande. These artists are blending genres. They're experimenting with sounds. It's not just like basic pop music anymore.
Right. It's like pop music with actual meaning, music that has something to say.
Exactly.
And it seems like the Grammys are finally starting to get it.
And it's not just the women either. Post Malone's F1 Trillion is up for Best Country Album. Post Malone.
Country music. Who would have thought?
I know, right? But I think it really shows you how much things are changing. Genres are blending together. Musical influences are crossing over. It's like anything goes now.
It's a really cool time to be a music fan.
It is.
And even R&B, which has been around forever. It's still evolving. You've got the legends like Chris Brown and Usher. But then you've also got artists like Muni Long and Lucky Daye who are bringing something new to the table.
Yeah, and I think the Grammys are making a point of showing that evolution. How R&B is incorporating hip-hop, soul, even alternative.
It's like they're saying, hey, R&B isn't just one thing. It's alive. It's changing.
Exactly.
And you see that same open-mindedness in other categories too, like Best Alternative Music Performance. You've got Cage the Elephant, who've been making great rock anthems for years, and then Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
So,
there's, gothic rock and poetry.
And Fontaine's DC, they've got this raw energy.
Yeah.
And their lyrics are so politically charged, it's like a revival of post-punk.
Yeah. It's a reminder that alternative music, no matter what form it takes, can still speak to a generation. It can capture what they're feeling, their anxieties, their hopes.
It proves that rock is not dead. Not even close.
And speaking of legends, did you see that Paul Robeson is nominated for Best Historical Album?
Oh yeah, Paul Robeson, Voice of Freedom. All his recordings for Columbia, RCA, HMV, and Victor. What a collection.
I know. His music spans decades. Spirituals, folk songs, opera, Broadway. He did it all.
He really was a musical icon. And his influence goes way beyond music. He was a huge advocate for social justice. He used his voice to fight against racism and inequality.
Yeah, his legacy is so much bigger than just his music. He was a true pioneer. He used his art to change the world.
I think it's really fitting that the Grammys are honoring him, both for his music and for what he stood for.
And there are other nominations that show how music can make a difference, like the Best Song Written for Visual Media category, Love Will Survive, from The Tattooist of Auschwitz.
Oh, wow. Talk about a powerful song. It reminds you that even in the darkest times, the human spirit can survive.
And Can't Catch Me Now, from The Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It captures the themes of rebellion and hope that run through the whole Hunger Games series.
Yeah, it's amazing how music can affect us so deeply. It can take us to other worlds. It can make us see our own world in a new way.
Music is a powerful thing.
It really is. And I think that's what makes these Grammy nominations so exciting. They're not just about talented artists. They're about how music can move us, inspire us, challenge us.
It's a celebration of all kinds of music, from spoken word to those huge pop anthems that everyone knows.
It's something to be excited about.
Definitely.
So where do we go from here in our Grammy deep dive? We've talked about the surprises, the snubs, the trends. What's next?
Now it's time to get into those big categories. Let's look at some of the individual nominees, see who we think has the best shot at winning.
Sounds good. It's going to be tough, though.
I know, right?
There are so many talented artists.
Okay, so let's start with Album of the Year. We've got Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter, Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet, Charlie XCX's Brat, Billie Eilish's Hit Me Hard and Soft, Chappell Roan's The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, and we can't forget about Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets Department, Andre 3000's New Blue Sun, Jacob Collier, Jesse Vole, 4.
That's a tough one.
Oh,
Seriously. Anyone could win.
I think so too.
Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter is getting a lot of attention, and for good reason. It's so bold, so experimental, and it really changes how you think about country music.
Yeah, I loved it. The way she mixed her own stories with like social commentary. It's like this tapestry of sound and emotion, and her voice is just...
Next level.
I know, right?
She's such a good storyteller.
But then you have Sabrina Carpenter with Short and Sweet, just pure pop perfection, so
Right.
catchy, and the lyrics are so relatable.
You can't help but sing along.
And Charlie XCX's Brat.
Oh, man.
That album is a wild ride. It's all about fame, being a woman, what it's like to live your life in the spotlight.
It's definitely her most powerful album yet.
I think so too.
You can tell she's really grown as an artist.
Yeah. And we can't forget about Billie Eilish. Hit Me Hard and Soft. It's raw, it's vulnerable, and her songwriting is just wow.
Yeah, you can really hear how much she's matured.
Yeah, she's not afraid to get into those dark feelings, and that's what makes her music so interesting.
Definitely.
And Chappell Roan, what a debut album with The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. It's like a coming-of-age story set to music.
Yeah, so good.
It's funny, it's heartfelt, it's honest.
She's one to watch, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, trying to predict who's going to win Album of the Year, it's impossible. There's just so much talent.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so moving on to Record of the Year, another tough category. We've got the Beatles Now and Then, Beyonce's Texas Hold'em, Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, Chappell Roan's Good Luck, Babe.
And Taylor Swift featuring Post Malone Fortnite.
I know, right?
What a combo.
I never saw that coming.
Me neither.
But it works. It's such a fun song, you can't help but dance to it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so, the Beatles. Now and Then. What a beautiful song. It shows you what AI can do, bringing these legends back to life.
It's bittersweet,
It is.
but so gorgeous.
And Beyonce, Texas, Hold'em.
An anthem.
I know.
It's like a declaration of independence, like bet on yourself.
Yeah, it makes you feel so powerful. And Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso, pure sugar rush.
So
You
catchy.
just want to sing along. And Kendrick,
Yeah.
Not Like Us.
Ah.
Such a powerful statement about social justice.
Yeah. His lyrics always make you think.
I do.
And they always feel so relevant.
Yeah, and Chappell runs, Good Luck, Babe. It's just heartbreaking. She puts so much emotion into it.
Yeah, I can really feel it. It's amazing.
So yeah, this category is going to be a tough one for the voters to decide.
No kidding.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our Grammy deep dive. We've talked about the surprises, the snubs, what's trending in music right now.
It's been fun.
It has.
We've gone through the categories. We've talked about the nominees. Now it's your turn to decide who you think deserves to win.
Yeah, go listen to these albums and songs. Make your voice heard.
And get ready for music's biggest night.
Exactly. Maybe we'll see some of these artists make Grammy history.
Who knows?
Until next time, keep listening to great music,